Gavin and Master Tess Fassian.
And a squad of big-name contributors.
The S Word
from talkSPORT.
Well, a very good morning to our friends across the pond and good afternoon from here in London. This is the S Word. It's Monday morning and the Premier League season is finally over. Does that mean you've stopped celebrating yet?
Did I? Hold on. I don't think you know the depths of my celebrations.
Oh, I do. I saw you this morning.
No, you do not. We have a medal here.
What have I done? What have
I was going to wait, but you know what? Why not? You know, how's it look? How's it look? Huh?
Tainted with my tears. It's a beautiful thing, man. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. We've got a huge show for you today. Tottenham survive the drop. West Ham go down. What next for these two London giants? We're speaking to Roshane Thomas from The Athletic to discuss exactly what this means for the Hammers. And we're going to talk about what's next for Tottenham as well. Can they rebuild? Can Roberto De Zerbi turn them back into a top half team?
17th again?
Team? Can they at least finish above 17th? We will get into all of that.
Still celebrating 17th.
Angelina Kelly will be in the studio to discuss Barcelona's 4-0 victory over Lyon in the Women's Champions League final. Bruno breaking the assist record, because we are going to be introducing the beam of joy to the show today, Master.
I thought we were calling it the beam of positivity.
Oh, is it the beam of positivity?
You came up with the name.
I got it wrong. Already from the off, I'm all over the shop. The beam of positivity, because we had some great stuff to celebrate yesterday.
Like the beam, baby.
And with Spain announcing their squad with no Real Madrid players for the first time in 92 years of going to international competition.
That was a real spicy R-roll.
Marcel will join us. So much to come on the S Word. What a show. What a show.
Bring your lunch, bring your dinner.
Yes.
Yeah, you like my spicy rolling R's?
Yeah, sounds. Somebody had a fun weekend.
Real Madrid. You and I both had fun weekends, but no more fun than yesterday afternoon, when from 4 p.m. the entire Premier League was decided. European qualification, relegation, of course, as well. And Tottenham beating Everton thanks to João Palhinha's strike means that West Ham's 3-0 win over Leeds wasn't enough to keep them and their 14-year stay in the Premier League afloat. Here's how it sounded on talkSPORT.
In the 20th minute of the match, Diogo Jota's song begins to ring around Anfield. Forever brothers, forever in our hearts, never forgotten, never to walk alone.
It's left Engamoa to finish it. He's won it. Rio Engamoa, the teenager.
As Eddie Nketiah has just blasted in.
Selhurst Park erupts. The Premier League never ever surprises you.
9 goals at Craven Cottage. Fulham 4, Manchester City 5. From 5-1 down.
It's not easy. This is the Premier League.
There's the full-time whistle, and listen to those boos. I think there might be a frank exchange of views after that.
It was announced that Thomas Frank has been sacked by Tottenham Hotspur.
Nottingham Forest have wasted no time in taking action. They have sacked Ange Postecoglou.
I came here to be the manager of Manchester United, not to be the coach.
Ruben Amorim sacked at Manchester United.
Enzo Maresca no longer the Chelsea manager.
Managerial merry-go-round is spinning at a faster rate than it ever has.
The football just keeps on coming.
But an effort from Toby! Sunderland lead at Anfield.
They're not playing like a team that are just here to make up the numbers and stay up.
A seismic shock at Old Trafford. Leeds United conquer Manchester United.
I'm dreaming so much. I've done so much.
So far they are better.
Doku has equalised and he may just have kept the title race alive.
And Arsenal have to go to West Ham.
West Ham 0, Arsenal 1. He's come up with some big goals over the course of the season. Leandro Trossard, this could be the biggest year.
If it can make you 1% better or it can make your team better, why would you not respect that? How did they get the win? Set play.
In by Havertz, and Arsenal take the lead at the Emirates Stadium. Of course it's a corner. Of course it's a set-piece goal. Arsenal, for the first time in 22 years, are champions of the Premier League.
Final day of the Premier League season. If Spurs go down, it's a huge story. It's massive if West Ham go down. Goal at Tottenham, Sam Match face.
Tottenham Hotspur 1, Everton 0. João Palhinha. If it stays like this, Tottenham are staying in the Premier League.
And that means whatever happens here, West Ham will be powerless.
And it's game over. Crystal Palace 0, Arsenal 2. Excellent finish from Madueke.
Set piece FC, Bernardo Silva, who's coming off the field to a standing ovation. Mo Salah has had his final kick as a Liverpool player.
Get on with the football, honestly. Liverpool secured the last Champions League spot. Bournemouth and Sunderland are in the Europa League. Brighton in the Europa Conference League.
And it's the last action of the afternoon. West Ham United have done their bit. Unless Everton can score twice, it is game over for the unhappy Hammers.
Desperate for the whistle, which comes and brings relief to Tottenham Hotspur. It is survival. West Ham United are relegated to the Championship.
Martin Odegaard steps towards his teammates, throws back his head and lifts the trophy aloft.
That's how the whole season sounded on talkSPORT. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a beautiful thing to hear back, but that's basically all we have time for on the show. See you later, guys.
It ended as it should have.
Listen, whilst there was a trophy lift going on in South London, and let's mention one of the great all-time photos of the Victor Gyökeres in front of the Arsenal fans doing the full celebration with all of the fans doing behind him, as you young people would say.
He did it with Sweden too, so
yeah, but
tends to be his thing.
It's pretty cool,
very orchestrated,
pretty cool.
Sure.
And you were celebrating out on the streets of North London at the Emirates. 100,000 people turn up again,
something like that. I felt like it was more this time. The youths of North London were out. There was a lot more chaotic energy this time around, but, you know, I think all in all, it was okay.
But a little bit further north, they were celebrating on the streets of Tottenham High Road because Spurs have remained in the Premier League. A 1-0 win over Everton on the day. Clearly the superior team in that game. Everton, I didn't think they looked on the beach. They actually played pretty well for the first 20, 25 minutes or so. And, you know, bookings were flying, challenges were flying. Like, they came out feisty, but in the end weren't able to step up to Tottenham. And despite West Ham's huge victory at home against a very much on-the-beach Leeds United, it wasn't enough. West Ham have gone down. We'll be talking West Ham coming up shortly. There have been a number of hit pieces going out over recent days. talkSPORT do expect that Nuno Espirito Santo will be sacked today, most likely. We are just waiting for that news to come down. Let's kickstart off with the celebrating half of North London and what was happening on the streets of Tottenham, because it's been a rough year, 18 months, 2 years, whatever you want to call it. Yes, the Europa League trophy papered over some rather large cracks in the way that club has been being run. It all came to a head this season, and yet they will remain an ever-present. They will stay in the Premier League.
They will. And all credit goes to Roberto De Zerbi. That club looked lifeless at a certain point, especially after bringing in Igor Tudor. This team just looked... all assumptions were they were going to get relegated. The players weren't invested. The fans weren't invested. They were leaving before halftime in some home matches. They couldn't get a win at home. Everything looked lost. And all the credit goes to Roberto De Zerbi. He came in here and gave Tottenham some emergency surgery and gave them the injection that they needed to get this thing over the line. Had it not been for him, I think this would be a completely different story today. I think Tottenham would be in the championship if not for Roberto De Zerbi, and he is someone that probably is potentially saving some people their jobs as well today. But there's still a lot of problems that need to be fixed this summer, without question. But if Tottenham fans want to celebrate being 17th again, by all means, go ahead and do it.
Were they OTT? Or did they go over the top? Did they go too far with the celebrations? I mean, for me, it's that outpouring of relief I completely understand. But yeah, some of the celebration police were out yesterday mocking Tottenham on the wider... I mean, you've been partying for the last week straight, so...
Look, some people celebrate medals, you know? Other people celebrate 17th again. You know, if that's their prerogative, if that's their objective, if that is the bar that they are judging themselves off of, by all means, celebrate all you want to. You're just going to look pretty stupid walking around a bunch of champions in North London. I'm just saying.
What I think has to be said about the entire situation at Tottenham and what's happened this season is there will be a lot of people who will point to the injuries. There'll be a lot of people who will point to,
which is fair, by the way. And it is very fair. They had the most injuries this season at some very key positions. So if this team was healthy, I do not think they'd be in this relegation battle to start off with whatsoever. If they had picked better managers over Igor Tudor, if they would have picked somebody else, I don't think they'd be in this position.
But this is exactly the point, right? Everyone you want to point to the injuries. You want to point to the bad refereeing decisions in certain moments, and they did fall for a few of those as well. But the fact is as much as Big Ange comes in and wins the Europa League last season, gives them that first taste of silverware, first European silverware, like really elevates the fans' experience at the club. I think you go back all the way to when they first moved to this new stadium, and it's funny, the parallel here between West Ham and Tottenham, that this entire ideology around the club has been built differently over this past 6 or 7 years. And this feels like this whole struggle has been a long time coming. I think you look at all the teams who've gone down this season. You look at what's happened at Wolves, you look at what's happened at West Ham. This is a team where the floor was set to fall out. They finished 17th last season and everyone went, yeah, they finished 17th though while winning the Europa League. Now they're in the Champions League. They'll have money to spend. They'll be able to attract bigger players. That's a blip. That's a blip. It's not been a blip at all. Appointing Thomas Frank was the wrong decision. Sticking with him as long as they did was the wrong decision. The inertia in the January transfer window was an indecision. Igor Tudor was a dreadful decision.
Awful decision.
And they finally get one right. And like you say, despite the injuries, despite the problems, despite everything that Spurs have gone through, just having a manager who can motivate, who can tactically set a team up to win away from home, has got to a point where they've survived, and not only have they survived, they've survived in a season where it's taken more points to survive by 15 versus the last 2 years. If you'd even dreamt they could have got above the 40-point barrier 3 months ago, there's no opportunity whatsoever.
Impossible. They couldn't win at home. And in order to survive a relegation battle, you have to win at home. You have to get points at home. And they were not getting points at home. I just don't know how this is not going to be a relegation team again next season.
Well, this is it. So you talked about De Zerbi being a guy that has come in and got them, maybe not off life support, but at least brought them back to life. They've got the heart beating back in the chest. They've used the paddles, but this is still a squad in the ICU. This is still a team who desperately need a huge rebuild this summer. De Zerbi talked about it after, in his post-match interview yesterday. He said, of the players here, there are 10, 11, maybe 12 who deserve to stay, right, from a big squad. And when he said deserve to stay, he then clarified, I don't mean starters. I don't mean guys who are going to be, like, if you want to be a team that are competing for Europe. I'm not talking about players who'll be starting week in, week out. I'm talking about guys that can be part of the squad, right? So he's already root and branch saying we need to completely rip this out. You saw the moment that final whistle went on Sunday and they knew they'd survived. A banner gets unfurled behind that spectacular south stand with the single rake. Lang out. Vinay out, Lewis family out. They have just got absolutely no stock with the fans left whatsoever. They are the root and stem rebuild needs to not just be the squad, but the entire set of the club. And everyone was celebrating when Daniel Levy leaves as chairman this year, which happens mid-season and causes more problem within itself. Yes, okay, if they do change the wage structure, if they manage to bring some, and I like the players that they're already talking about bringing in. Marco Senesi and Andy Robertson both joined this week, which they're expected to. Both good signings from a Tottenham perspective. Good professional players who know how to perform in the Premier League.
It's not enough.
But this is not a team who I think most people are predicting now, right, that's it. 2 years, no way this happens again. I'm not saying I see them as an immediate relegation dogfight next season. I think the three teams coming up have got a real fight on their hands next year because there really aren't a West Ham, a Wolves, a team whose floor is ready to completely drop out. But if De Zerbi's going to turn this team into a team that want to compete, that can push for European qualification again, that can compete, and I'm not talking about with the likes of Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City, even Aston Villa you throw into that mix. Now, I'm talking about competing with Bournemouth and Brentford.
Just
and
being
Sunderland
a mid-table for them would be growth.
Yeah,
That's
huge.
Being a mid-table would be growth, but what gives you the hope that Tottenham can be a mid-table team? When you talk about those 10 or 12 players that De Zerbi feels like should still be on the squad in some capacity, how many of those want to stay? Like, obviously, Christian Romero's gone. We can already assume that. Mickey Van de Ven, do you think he's staying? If these guys get an option to go elsewhere, to compete in Europe, or to have a better chance at another club that's better functioning, Why would you not take that opportunity?
The whole point, and listen, I saw Jamie O'Hara on White and Jordan mid-morning this morning with Sam and with Alex Crook and those guys, and there was a conversation around snobbery for Tottenham fans. What kind of players should they be targeting? Should they be looking to try and bring in players that they believe are, this is what he was talking about. Those guys have mentioned, great, Premier League pros, everything great about them. Except they're both free transfers and you had those deals pre-agreed on the basis that if you didn't get relegated. So they're already guaranteed and bought in. Beyond that, realistically, who's signing for Tottenham right now? You're probably having to go to those championship teams that didn't get promoted. You are looking for the Anton Semenyos. You're looking for the Alex Scotts. You're looking for the people not as they're moving on to a bigger chance, not as they've already proven themselves in the Premier League and they're going on, but you're going to have to go and find these floor-raising players who have performed well in other leagues and hope that they adapt to the Premier League in the way that those names that I've mentioned have. They're not a team who are going to just be able to go out and sign Europa League level, top half of the Premier League quality players, even if they do open the wage structure up, even if they do say, right, we're going to start paying people now. Van der Ven, for some reason, I really imagine him staying. And I think it's because of the spirit that De Zerbi has created. It's because you saw his celebrations yesterday. Romero, he's out of the country 2 days before this game. He does come back, but you feel like he came back because of public pressure and because of the perception,
100%,
not because he actually
100%.
desperately wanted to be there to support his team. I think if they lose Romero and Van der Ven, they're in real trouble. So I can see them throwing money at Van der Ven to keep him. But beyond that, who are you that worried about?
You just mentioned Marco Senesi. He's leaving Bournemouth to go to Tottenham.
I mean, we can talk about that separately. Just stay at Bournemouth at this point.
I'm saying, for some of these guys, you're going into a situation where you're leaving a place that is better suited, despite the fact that Spurs has great facilities, is in London, has everything that you would imagine would be a great fit for you to make a step up. This is not a step up for most people, unfortunately. So a lot of these guys that are going to stay, truth be told, maybe it's circumstances beyond their own, under family, wanting to stay in London, whatever the case may be. But if you get a chance to go somewhere else to one of the big clubs that is coming calling, you can bet your last dollar they're going to leave. The other parts of this too. Roberto De Zerbi did his thing with his back against the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some managers that are great in that fight or flight relegation battle moment that can really rally the troops, bring them all together, and make things work. Who is to say that it's going to work with Roberto De Zerbi next season? There's just too many question marks with Spurs, and they're not going to find the answers, I don't think, in this summer transfer window. And I can't imagine from what we've seen from up top that ownership group is going to make the right decisions to make this a more attractable place without any European football. It's not going to happen.
They've made such poor decisions over the last 5 years, not just over the last 18 months, which
100%
want to cite. I do feel that Roberto De Zerbi, as a developer of players, as a guy that under that Tony Bloom system at Brighton brought through some amazing talent, I can absolutely imagine a situation where Alfie Gray starts next season and he's brilliant, because he's a brilliant talent who hasn't been given the right opportunities.
But so many managers like him have been burnt out dealing with ownership. Antonio Conte, Jose Mourinho, the list goes on and on.
Graham Potter.
Like the guys who are just high-wired, high-strung managers that are obsessed with winning get frustrated with Tottenham to the point where they reach a boiling point and a point of no return because they can't function in the manner that the club operates in.
I think, as I said, root and stem needs to be done throughout the club. There's part of me that just looks at this season and does look at the injuries and does look at the issues and does look at the fact that now they've got a manager in who I can trust. And I'm like, 12th next year, Spurs will answer for that.
17th again, ole, ole. 17th again, ole, ole. 17th again, 17th again, 17th again, ole, ole. Congratulations, Spurs fans. Celebrate all across North London winning 17th. You deserve it.
It's just who we are, mate.
That's just who you
we're
are.
going to talk West Ham up next. What next for them? Are they on the Leicester route? Are they going to bounce back, or are they in some real long-term trouble?
I'm not a clown.
Big name reaction from both sides of the pond.
The S Word
from talkSPORT.
presents
The S Word.
high energy exchanges, fiery fan reactions, and the biggest football debate.
The S Word.
From talkSPORT.
You're back with the S Word on talkSPORT. Will Gavin, Master Tesfatzian in the studio alongside me. We are breaching that gap across the pond between the US and the UK and bringing American soccer fans the show that they deserve.
Yeah, I mean, we're already adjusting with medals. You know, that's we look down on medals in America, but you know what?
Enjoy your one medal while you've got it.
We usually do rings in America. We love a nice championship ring, but you know, I'll take a nice medal. I'll take a nice medal.
Only when you're going to win.
There'll be another one on Saturday.
You took a while to get there. You heard me eventually. Listen, we're having some technical issues here in the S Word studio, so we were due to be speaking with our first guest, Roshane Thomas from The Athletic, to talk a bit of West Ham, but in the meantime, with West Ham returning to the Championship after 14 years in the top flight, just how worried should West Ham fans be that this is the tip of the iceberg? This is the start of a descent a la Leicester beyond the Championship, potentially financial ruin, potentially losing key members of that squad. What kind of a state are they going to be in? talkSPORT understands that Nuno Espirito Santo will be sacked as soon as today. And in fact, we can hear from Nuno, who was speaking after the game yesterday.
No, it's not. No, it's not about that. It's about realizing that now is not the moment to do that. Your state of mind is not the right one. We are sad, we are frustrated, and just things will, you know what I mean?
Nuno Espirito Santo speaking with talkSPORT after the game. We understand he will be sacked. He will no longer be West Ham manager. That probably shouldn't be a surprise after taking them down, although there was a lot of debate and discussion about whether he could be the man to return them immediately back to the Premier League. They're going to be losing, undoubtedly, key players across the course of the coming months. Apparently, the reports this morning, they have to raise £150 million in player transfers in order to balance their books before heading down to the Championship. And that's all while players like Jared Bowen have a release clause in their contract. So, Master Tesfatzian, West Ham on the brink of some serious disaster after relegation from the Premier League.
I think there is reason for their concern. I genuinely do. I don't know what... I was trying to keep up with some of the conversation yesterday, and there are people that are believing they have to make 150 million quid in player sales this summer. So you imagine what Matias Fernandez, talking about trying to sell him for 80 million quid, which again...
who's paying more than 40 or 50 million quid for Mateus?
And he's a fantastic midfielder. And
young and everything else. He's just been relegated.
The chances he creates, exactly. So you're going to get all these guys at a discount just due to the simple fact that they did get relegated. And Jared Bowen's going to go somewhere, whether it's Liverpool or elsewhere. And yeah, as much as you may value him as a top priority player, someone who's well deserving of that kind of transfer fee, it's part of a team that got relegated. So I don't see how they find that 150 million that people are throwing around amongst the players. And then the concern is all these great players are leaving. Who are you going to bring in? And is that quality, is that talent? Is there going to be a manager that can rally all these guys up to get them back in a year? Because if not, this is a team that could be down there for 5 years, 6 years. If it gets even worse, I mean, are we talking about a team that could just drop down to League One?
The real concerns are what we've been talking about, the same with Tottenham, that the top-down management is a real problem there. That you look at how this last few seasons have played out, and this is when I was talking about teams where the floor looked ready to drop out. Wolves, we saw it, selling all their best players, somehow managed to survive, losing their managers, you saw that coming. Spurs very nearly happened to them. But you go back and look, I feel like I sometimes wind up our West Ham friends, particularly our West Ham supporting producer, Sam Harris, about the be careful what you wish for-ism about moving on from David Moyes when they didn't like the style of football. But the fact is the momentum was fading and the slide was happening league-wise before Moyes left. Julen Lopetegui just turned out to be the Spanish David Moyes and an absolute disaster.
That was their Igor Tudor moment.
Just
Lopetegui coming in, and some of the signings that they had there, like Niklas Füllkrug, who clearly was not a good fit.
He's 33 years old. How are they going to sell him on now they're in the Championship? He's got 2 years left on his massive contract with no relegation clause. Like, he's going to be costing them an arm and a leg at this point.
He was a bad signing as it was, but they were backing Lopetegui, and the decision to bring him in to the Premier League, again, I do not understand what the thought process was there. I genuinely do not. And that's who they wanted to replace with David Moyes. That I feel like that's where the decline happened, because.
But they bring in 110 million for Declan Rice, and they sign Mavropanos, who admittedly was their player of the season this season, but will not have a resale value. Todibo, Max Kilman. They spent £92 million on those three. 35 million on Edson Alvarez, who goes on loan to Fenerbahce for the entire season because he had a falling out with Graham Potter. Like, every decision over the last 3 years appears to have been heading in this direction. Like, nothing they have done since Rice left and since Moyes left has been a good decision.
I forgot about the Graham Potter.
Yeah, exactly. We hadn't even got onto that. Graham Potter comes in, starts falling out with players left, right and centre. Füllkrug, as you mentioned, 3 goals in 26 league appearances, gets shipped out to Milan on loan. Last summer, they didn't spend any money on any attacking, striking options. Like, they had Füllkrug, who at that point was already 32 years old and was not playing well. Their Callum was great player on his day, but very injury prone, as we have seen, and not been able to stay healthy. And instead, they look at spending money on a ball-playing goalkeeper in Mads Hermansen. They bring in Malik Diouf, who,
a good attack,
nice player, but inexperienced young player. Spend money on him, and They tried to sign every midfielder under the sun and no one would come to them. Like, eventually they did get Mats Fernandes in, but do you remember that? They were linked with every single player you could imagine. Nobody came in for a very long time. And
it was very Spursy, where it's despite the success coming off a Conference League title, you're thinking they're trying to take the next step, leaving David Moyes and moving on, trying to elevate this club into a consistent perennial European contending side, and it just never happened. And that's a concern with always feeling like you can make that leap. And West Ham fans, maybe that trophy they bit off a bit more than they could chew.
And that day, I'm sure, will live in infamy. And while some West Ham fans will tell us that they'd rather be back at Upton Park and never won a trophy, they'll remember that day in 50 years' time if they're still alive. They'll be telling their grandkids about it. It's a wonderful thing to win a trophy. That's the whole point of the sport, is to go out and build your team up and win silverware and have that moment with your friends and with your family that you can remember forever, right? It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. But right now, this is a club where... Yesterday, we see a hit piece come out going after Nuno Espirito Santo. Today, there's a different hit piece in The Guardian that's going after David Sullivan. They're moving around shares like nobody's business. The fact of the matter is that Nuno Espirito Santo comes in, falls out with players, isn't able to bring his own coaching staff in, apparently doesn't talk to players after half-time and full-time. Like, these issues have been sitting there and existing and bubbling and going on for the whole year. And you're telling me that's a team who are set up to be able to go, right, it's been a disaster, we've been relegated, that's really tough, but we can retool, we can come back, we can bounce back. They struck me more like a team who are going to do a Leicester and be in a relegation battle.
But if these problems existed with Nuno, why didn't you sack him? I mean, if all of these issues existed and you want to blame dump it onto a reporter at The Athletic the day after you get relegated, why didn't you sack Nuno? Clearly, survival did not matter more than it was to absolve blame and to shift it on someone else and find the scapegoat for all of these problems, when it's clearly institutional. It's clearly from the top down. The simple fact that people are not coming out and taking accountability and ownership to this problem. If I was a West Ham fan, I'd be more upset about that than anything else. You know who seemed more upset about West Ham getting relegated than anyone else? It was Declan Rice. Mm-hmm. This guy came in, obviously, West Ham legend, goes to Arsenal. As you talked about, what, 100 million quid, 110? Arsenal got him for half price. He's been fantastic at Arsenal. He's been nothing but class. Every single time he's gone back to West Ham, any single time he's mentioned West Ham, he thinks of them so fondly. Every time he goes back to that pitch, he touches the ball, gets booed every single time. And that guy cared more, still cares more, after winning his first ever Premier League trophy. His frustration, the anger that you visibly saw from him when he found out West Ham got relegated. This guy somehow cares more than any other person I've seen taking accountability or ownership. That is the problem at West Ham this season. How is that possible? How is that possible?
You're arguing, like, the guy leaves Chelsea at 14 years old, spends 10 years at West Ham. I hope that he feels that in his heart and soul for the club. But you could absolutely imagine a world where the way that he moved on, the way the fans have treated him, even if it's tongue-in-cheek since he's come back, that he wouldn't necessarily or shouldn't necessarily care like that. And yet he's still muting the celebration when he scores, still showing that frustration. And listen, from my perspective, when we talk about the systemic issues at this football club, we talk about not signing a striker last summer, we talk about struggling to sign a midfielder, and then we find out that it turns out from this report today that they had an Osula loan deal on the table, didn't take it.
Would have been a tremendous addition.
Could have taken Rayan in January, didn't take it.
Would have been a tremendous addition.
Those are two players who in the last 6 months of the season have been two of the best players in the Premier League when they've performed, and West Ham could have done with both of them. It wouldn't have taken a huge amount for them to stay up here, right?
No.
They did not finish a long way behind Spurs. And you feel sorry for them because, 39 points is enough to survive in 26 of the last 30 Premier League seasons. Since they reduced the size of the league, the 40-point thing is an absolute myth. 39 points should be enough to stay up. But it doesn't matter. It's about what the team in 17th do. And you just need to win one more game of football, and the moves that you made in January, the inertia, the inability to go and make a difference for your football club. And they just rested on their laurels. They'd had a nice little run. They thought they were going to be fine. It was so poor.
It's tremendously poor. And all of these reports does not make me feel comfortable in the fact that if I had to guess which club I am more concerned about, obviously they got relegated compared to Spurs, which, again, were well deserving of being relegated themselves. But the simple fact that it is West Ham that got relegated, I am absolutely worried for their future, because West Ham is a club that we need to see in the Premier League. It is, in terms of...
I'm less convinced about that.
You think so?
I'm not convinced at all that West Ham are a team we need in the Premier League. Between the moaning about the move to the stadium, the athletic stadium that they're now in that's just not set up for football at all, between the ownership being an absolute clown car. We had West Ham not in the Premier League for plenty of a stretch of time. And I think right now, West Ham are a football team who... I don't see them as deserving of Premier League football. The Premier League has changed, right? We are in an era where Bournemouth and Brighton and Sunderland on promotion can be winning European spots, where we're seeing Brentford coming very close to that fact, and where Tottenham can be nearly relegated this season despite being an ever-present. Nobody deserves Premier League football, but particularly, even though West Ham have a great support in the past and have always been a well-rooted for club, I don't think anything from the behaviour from their ownership to the players, to the fans themselves, nothing screams to me, Premier League football club.
But the support is...
Apart from the fact their stadium's got a big capacity. But, it's got 60,000 people, and you can fit another 20,000 between where the fans sit and where the actual pitch is. The whole thing is a complete clown car.
The fan support is my interpretation of why I felt like they are well-deserving. And for me, at least, have always felt like when I think of the Premier League, obviously there's many teams to think of, but going to East London, facing West Ham, that's one you kind of are mindful of, and the energy, the excitement, the idea of the Hammers, blowing bubbles, the whole experience of...
This is just an American who's watched Green Street too many times.
Maybe. I could be far for that. But you know what? Hey, maybe West Ham belongs in the championship and facing Millwall. And there's some fun derbies now that are going to be happening in the championship, and that'll be interesting to monitor next season.
Let's hear from the former West Ham striker Dean Ashton, who joined the mid-morning show on talkSPORT earlier today and said what he wants to see from the next manager.
I think they would love a passionate manager that shows that outwardly. Nuno's not like that. You look through past his previous job, he's not like that. That isn't him. What we see is what you get at the moment, is that calm, composed manager, whether it's the ups and downs. And I think that has worked at times, but the West Ham supporters are some of the most passionate in the country. And I think they would enjoy a character that maybe showed that. And recently, it's been a conveyor belt of a lack of passion in the dugout. The last 5 managers, none of them had, I think, genuine passion, certainly on the sidelines or in the way that they spoke.
Dean Ashton saying he wants genuine passion from the next manager. And as far as I'm concerned, this West Ham job should be Scott Parker's to turn down. If they are not banging on his door already before Nuno is even out of the building, I'll be astonished. And people will look at it and say he's just got Burnley relegated. Well, yeah, he also got Burnley promoted with a threadbare comparative money to spend on his roster with the other teams who are in the Championship. He managed to get Bournemouth promoted as Championship runners-up. He managed to get Fulham promoted via the playoffs. This is a guy who deals in this as a speciality, and he is passionate, He loves the football club. He can actually drag something out of the players. My only concern is, a little bit like we've talked about with the Real Madrid situation. Not that I'm comparing West Ham to Real Madrid by any stretch of imagination, but a little bit like we've talked about with Xabi Alonso at Chelsea, like we've talked about Luis Enrique at PSG. If Scott Parker's going to take that job, he needs that ownership to say, we're getting rid of the sporting directors, we are changing the structure of the club, this is going to be your team to run. Once we've sold that £150 million of players we have, it may not be a big pot, but it's yours to spend on the players you think you need to get us back out of the Championship. Because unless they do that straight away, they could be in long-term trouble.
Is he going to be able to have that authority to do so, despite, obviously, having played for the club, had 113 caps with the club? Is it maybe... you can look for somebody that is passionate, that understands the club, or do you need someone that can help fix this problem immediately within a year? And I'm not saying that Scott Parker can't do that, but do you look at maybe a Sean Dyche, a Big Sam? Do you find one of these guys that has the pedigree and can grind away wins in the Championship and bring you up? And that's
I think that's what Scott Parker is at this
Scott
point.
Parker can do that, yeah.
Three separate times now, with three very different football teams.
And each time, what happens to the clubs? There's a ceiling there. He'll bring them up, but they come back down.
That £200 million you earn from just getting back to the Premier League, that fact that, yes, they're going to have parachute payments this year, but they're having to make these huge sales. You need to find yourself someone who is going to at least get you back up. And Bournemouth have remained. Fulham have remained.
After he
moved on in both of those occasions.
Moved on is a very, very nice way of saying they moved on from him.
If I'm West Ham, I am promising Scott Parker the world to get him to come in and restore some pride in our football club more than anything else.
I think that part of it, and I think the fans can rally and get behind him. So yeah, that I understand that sentiment. I just think I would not want to fall in love with the romanticism of the idea of that. Do your due diligence, because who you hire as his manager is the most crucial thing. We could talk about the players, the money situation, the ownership group. If they do not nail who this manager is, that's when you think the bottom fell out now. It can get worse. It can get much, much worse. And considering what I've seen from the past couple managerial hires that they've had, and considering the fact that they didn't want to sack Nuno, I'm guessing probably for financial reasons, when they've come out and had all these issues and problems that they want to tell every single reporter now that they've had with Nuno, what convinces you that all of a sudden now they will nail this managerial hire?
I am convinced, and Dean Ashton has got me fully aboard the train. The bandwagon I have leapt straight onto. He didn't name anyone specifically, but this is a club who has lost their soul. This is a club who have moved on from their stadium, who have lost the fan base, who have now lost Premier League football, and they need somebody who's going to talk them back into all of that, who is going to rally the troops, who is going to elevate them, and I'm convinced Scott Parker is that man.
Not Liam Rosenior?
Yeah. I'm the biggest Liam Rosenior guy there is, and that's saying something.
What? All the LinkedIn talk that you've been talking nonsense about, maybe they need someone that's a LinkedIn hire. Maybe they need to go. Maybe West Ham needs to go on LinkedIn and see if Liam Rosenior is an AI search for them. He could be a good fit.
Listen, we've got plenty more still to get into from this final weekend of the Premier League season and beyond. We're going to talk about the Spain squad announcement. No Real Madrid players in that squad for the first time in 92 years of appearing at major tournaments. Up next though, we talked about the two teams, one relegated, one just not relegated, their futures. It's time for the beam of positivity.
From the touchline to the terraces,
talkSPORT presents
the S Word. sense.
The S Word.
Listen again and subscribe.
Wherever you get your podcasts.
And on the talkSPORT USA YouTube channel.
Are you back with the S Word? From talkSPORT, I'm Will Gavin, the great Master Tesfatian, alongside me. Apparently he's a Premier League winner now. I thought this was like a Super Bowl ring. You're only allowed to wear it if you were... Are they just flogging those in the club shop for 30 quid a pop or something?
Somebody on the street. I don't know how much it costs, but I feel like Kurt Angle today.
I can't knock it. Well, you need to get a second one first. Let's see how Saturday goes. Then you can start claiming
and a broken neck.
Angle.
Yeah.
We'll see how you behave on Monday after if you win on Saturday.
It's true. It's true.
Listen, we have started the show off in a relatively negative fashion. Talking about West Ham, who talkSPORT understands. I've just been eschewing the positivity that Scott Parker could bring to the club. Apparently, David Sullivan is going and knocking back at Slaven Bilic's door, who he was looking to appoint before
another
former
West Ham player.
Santo. Yes, a former West Ham player, but also a guy who didn't want the job. 9 months ago.
What happened to the positivity?
Why would he want the job now if they're in the Championship?
20 seconds. What happened to the positivity?
All right. You want the positivity?
Come on.
Let's bring the beam.
Come on. Light the beam, baby. Light the beam. It is time now for the beam of positivity.
It's not bright in here.
I can't see.
This music choice is weird.
I can't see. What is this?
So bright. So very bright. I have to put my actual glasses back on, otherwise I can't see. Listen, the beam of positivity. It was a day yesterday where, for all of West Ham's toils and Tottenham celebrating a 17th place finish, as they deserve to, no celebration police around here, because it was a true day of beauty around the Premier League. A day where tears were shed, where Guard of Honours were held, where great careers were memorialised, and it's just some positivity we want to share from the final day of the Premier League season as we bid farewell to a 25-26 season, which has been marred at times by accusations of being boring.
You struggle there saying positivity. It's all right. We're all learning together here because, here in this country, unfortunately, all they do is complain. And, we're going to try and change that. We're going to try and bring up some hope and optimism. When it's cold, they want the sun. When it's sunny, they want the cold.
Oh, I always want the cold.
Yeah, that's coming from someone that was spinning in...
My complexion and my size, as a man of substantial carriage, plus 30-degree heat does not agree with me. But that's not part of the beam of positivity. Stop
it's not. I'm trying to be positive. I'm trying to be positive.
Listen,
it's easier said than done.
Before we dig into any of these individual things, just to list some of these off. The Arsenal trophy lift, after 22 years without a Premier League title. Crystal Palace giving them a Guard of Honour. Unai Emery giving...
Real quick, can I note, they gave the Guard of Honour as they were exiting and entering the pitch through the corner. What a fitting Guard of Honor for a team that won this league through set pieces, scoring goals on corner kicks. Arsenal entered the pitch with a Guard of Honor right through the corner. Well said.
For a season that we're...
Light the beam, baby.
The beam. Keep the beam going.
Light the beam.
We are positivity.
Where's my beam? Pew, pew. Pew, pew. This is not beam music.
This is the music that Sam Harris chose, so he deserves the...
He's dancing. What is this?
Listen, the action we saw at City with Villa players giving a Guard of Honour to both Bernardo Silva and John Stones mid-game, which some of my English counterparts have been hand-wringing and pearl-clutching about. Unai Emery's gift to Pep pre-game. The send-offs with Gundogan and Ederson joining Pep during that time. Man City renaming it the Pep Guardiola stand, the newly rebuilt North stand. Mo Salah's final game. Jordan Henderson getting the send-off he wanted. Bruno Fernandes breaking the assist record. And then the brilliant teams who made Europe whilst the world champions didn't. So much to be positive about.
You are just exploding with positivity. Your cup is runneth full.
I'll tell you where I want to start.
Where?
My beam of positivity is aimed very firmly in the direction of a team who I don't think we gave enough positivity to last week.
Should they put some sunglasses on?
I think, yeah, they're already... if you've not noticed, they're already on, buddy. The beam is that strong. Aston Villa. Off the back of their Europa League victory last week, we gave them their flowers. We talked about how brilliant the performance was.
I didn't.
But we quite quickly tore into the fact that, the Premier League is ruining the second-tier European competitions. We did not give the respect and love that Aston Villa deserve for being a team who've come from mid-table in the Championship just 7 years ago to winning a major European competition. And what you wanted to do was compare their wage bills to Freiburg's and compare their net spend to Freiburg's. What about a team who have finished in the Champions League places, who have finished fourth in the Premier League, despite the fact that if you want to look at net spend over the last 3 years, Arsenal have spent £406 million. Man City have spent £364 million. Man United, £393 million. Even Liverpool, who had that one season where they all bragged about their net spend being in the positive, have still spent nearly £300 million net spend. Aston Villa? £41 million. Unai Emery, pound for pound, has been the best manager in the Premier League. And despite the fact that they've been basically on the sauce since Thursday morning, that they've been having parades, they've been celebrating. I don't know if Ollie Watkins has slept, and yet he scores a brace at the home of the team who have won the Premier League in 4 of the last 5 years. They were not on the beach. They were right on it. And Aston Villa deserve their 4th place finish. My beam of positivity is aimed towards Villa. Beautiful stuff, gentlemen.
I think this is your way of having me not complain about the things I complained about with Villa last week. And you know what?
Yep, that's exactly what it is.
You had me in a checkmate. I cannot complain. I'm happy for Villa. I'm happy for the Villa fans. And they went out with class in the spite of all that was on the line Sunday with a potential 6th spot for a Champions League team if Villa lost. They took the game seriously, but also showed all the adulation and love to the legends at Man City who were going off the pitch one last time. They went out this season with class, honor, and dignity, and they will be in the Champions League. Tremendous season for Villa. No complaints here. Nothing but positivity.
To continue the positivity,
where are we going?
What about Sunderland? Promoted through the playoffs, massively outperforming Burnley, massively outperforming Leeds.
I'm sure Bomani Jones is very happy right now. Friend of the show. Huge Sunderland fan. Huge Sunderland fan.
Gets them into the Europa League spots. A team who we had to watch suffer through the indignance of Netflix documentaries that mocked their ownership and their fans and where they were in League One at the time, to bring themselves up to the Premier League, to have the season that they've had this year, to finish in the European spots alongside Bournemouth, alongside Brighton. These are minnows who have been in... I mean, Sunderland will argue they're no minnows and their former Premier League team and everything else, but these are comparative in what they've had to spend, in where they've come from, in building themselves back up. In Brighton, having been played in an athletic stadium that held about 3,000 people, where the stands were all about 40 metres apart. From Bournemouth, who still at this point need to redevelop their stadium to actually play in Europe next season, and to Sunderland to do it in their first year in the Premier League. And beaming some positivity at our European squads who made it into that top 7.
I could not have said it any better. I'm happy for Sunderland. What a remarkable story. When you talk about the last 2 years, the promoted sides were all but guaranteed to be relegated. Sunderland took a different approach, making it in through the playoff, getting promoted, spending big this summer, but spending smart.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love
spending smart, making very tactical decisions to build out their depth, and ultimately using that strategy to not only stave off relegation and be safe in the Premier League, but that first half of the season, they were on fire and rode that wave despite some, there was some turbulence there mid-season. AFCON, of course, they had a couple players who went off for AFCON. The form kind of, when they came back, there were some issues with the form there. But during the run-in, finished strong. And I don't think any Sunderland fan could have ever envisioned a top half table finish.
Yeah, let alone
like that. Like
absolutely,
top half for them would have been a pitch fever dream.
Dreamland.
To go to Europe in your first season being promoted back in the Premier League, that is one of the best stories of the season, not just in the Premier League, but all throughout Europe. Congratulations to Sunderland. That, in terms of the stories, when you talk about the Brightons, the Bournemouths, all the teams that well-deservedly made it to Europe, Sunderland will be the story I will never forget. That everything about it, the fans, the players on the pitch, the recruiting, tactically how they lined up, how they gave it their all. Sunderland is going to be a team I remember from this season.
Bournemouth, however, 18-game unbeaten streak, in which time they basically cost Man City the title, who collapsed like a flan in a cupboard from that point onwards.
Love me some cherries.
Oh,
love me some cherries.
Give them the love. Give Sunderland the love.
All the love.
And everyone who stopped Chelsea from also qualifying for Europe, despite the fact that, what was it they needed? 6 points?
Yeah.
From their last 9 games, and they would have made Europe this season?
We're not here to talk about negativity.
Oh, I'm going negative now. It's Chelsea. I'm sticking the boot in.
You went from McLovin to negative Nancy. We got to bring back the McLovin, okay? We'll talk about Chelsea another time. Let's focus in on how Bournemouth was able to do the job and take care of business for a club that, as you mentioned as well, a club that financial uncertainty, where they were at, to now having a stable ownership group, to having a manager in Areola that they believed in and trusted in, having a recruiting process that, other people had a chance to take Ryan, but Bournemouth was the one that were able to secure his abilities, and we see how tremendous he has been. Getting guys like Alex Scott buying in. I mean, Krupi. I mean, you can go down the list. All the players that they missed out on, and having just a new batch of players that they brought in either in the summer or January transfer window, or players that were waiting in the wings. Bournemouth
sold off their entire back line and lost their best attacking player in Anton Semenyo mid-season. Admittedly, in a big money transfer, and they'll get to reinvest those funds and help rebuild them, but Andoni Iraola, for me, has cemented himself as one of the top managers in Europe, in world football.
In Europe?
At this point.
Wow.
To the point where, I'm just going to put it out there, I think Man City might regret not making him the manager.
Over Enzo Maresca?
I'm just saying, Maresca did not do the business at Chelsea. He struggled a little at Chelsea. He's not still the manager there, is he? He's not taken them to European glory. Iraola, at this point, I'd see if Bournemouth will keep him, see if he can stay, because none of the other options out there. Palace, no thank you. Stay at Bournemouth, take them to Europe, because he should be going into a top managerial job in Europe. He should be taking a team with Champions League football into that competition next season.
I'm still in my namaste phase, so I'm staying very calm, peaceful, and channeling the energy within as I say this. Chelsea should have hired Areola over Xabi Alonso. And I think Chelsea will regret the fact that they did not hire Areola over Xabi Alonso. Areola would have made the most of that roster. As we've seen, he would have gotten the most out of those players, whichever players are still left. And the jury's still out on Xabi Alonso. I think Areola would have been a tremendous fit for Chelsea. But they wanted a big name, and Areola wasn't a big enough name for them. And I think they'll regret it. I think...
So we're pitching that Man City are regretting not... going for Areola, that Chelsea...
That you were pitching Man City.
You're pitching Chelsea. I'm agreeing with that.
I'm pitching Chelsea. I think...
United? Should United have gone for Andoni Areola?
Well, they regret it.
Just a question. Just a question.
But the thing is, if he doesn't go anywhere, will he still be around? Where else will he go?
I think he should stay at Bournemouth at this point. I really do.
But it's too little too late. They already announced the replacement. It's... You don't want to do that, it sets a bad vibes. We're trying to be peaceful. We're here for the beam of positivity.
Listen, the beam of positivity is here.
Okay.
In the next segment, I'm going to take a few of those stories and I'm going to flip them on their head.
The beam of negativity?
It's not really the beam of negativity. Although maybe it should be described as that. Yeah, I don't want to hear the music.
I don't want to hear the music.
Thank you very much.
On a bank holiday? Negativity? Do I need to take the shades off now?
I do want to ask you about how you feel about the situation with the Guard of Honours and everything else. And up next, I just want to call out some Brentford fans.
Right here.
I just want to make it clear.
The beam of negativity.
I think some of their behaviour unacceptable yesterday. We'll get into that.
Stop.
Up next.
Stop.
The S word.
Whatever the weather.
The S Word with Will Gavin and Master Tesfacion from talkSPORT.
featuring Will Gavin and Master Tess Fassian.
And a squad of big-name contributors.
The S Word
from talkSPORT.
We're not keeping the beam of positivity music going? No?
I feel like you're malfunctioning into the beam of negativity. Is this like a...
I've gone full-blown Mikel Arteta, Ted Lasso, just terrible dance moves. I didn't even wear a shacket today. I don't know what's going on. I feel so exposed. It's my bright ginger skin in the sun. You are watching the S Word from talkSPORT. Apparently, we're a soccer show or a football show for our friends in North America. I hit S Word, I know. Listen, first hour of the show, we've dissected West Ham, we've dissected Tottenham, we've given us the beam of positivity. In this next hour, no Real Madrid players in the Spain squad for the first time in 92 years of going to major tournaments. European football expert Andy Brasel will join us on that and the final weekend in La Liga, and some of the relegation stuff going on around the continent has been absolutely fascinating. Angelina Kelly will join us in the studio to look back on the Women's Champions League final, which, I mean, some of us speculated that Barcelona might finally lose their run of dominance over Lyon, and they hammered them. So we'll get into that in this hour. Plus, she's a Man United fan. We'll talk about Bruno Fernandes's assist. Shouldn't have counted. It was an own goal, and he should only join the record.
Fraud.
But first, Master,
what are we talking?
I want to talk a little bit about... We're going to do around the grounds. We've got some stuff that we want to mop up, some clips from the weekend, some of the best bits, etc. I want to talk about a trend that I saw on social media today. And as we all know, X is the platform for the beam of negativity. It is the home of negativity.
The epicenter of negativity.
Jordan Henderson, after having a sensational career at Liverpool, after taking over the club captaincy from Steven Gerrard when he retired, after being there as a real stalwart of that football club, and you can like the decision he made to go to the Middle East or not, you can question where that sat with his politics, and you can question whether he should be in this England squad or not. But the fact is that he left Liverpool without ever getting a proper send-off. On Sunday, that's when they played football. I nearly said Saturday. On Sunday, Brentford are there. He's playing. They're 1-0 down. They need to win this game to end up in Europe. Around the hour mark, they take him off the pitch, and he gets the reception from the Liverpool fans that he should have had before he left that club, that Mo Salah encouraged the Liverpool fans to give him. It took him a minute, walked off the field, was applauded by all four sides of the stands, and Brentford fans are not happy about it. One trending tweet from Ali Malali says, if Jordan Henderson never plays for us again, it will be too soon. That was an absolutely disgraceful way to behave. Brentford fans believing that with their team needing 2 more goals in order to make their way into Europe this season, Jordan Henderson should not be milking the applause, and he should be either staying on the pitch and fighting for that place or getting off as quickly as possible. Master Tess Fassian, are Brentford fans showing some sour grapes, or do they have a point?
Brentford fans, give me a freaking break, okay? You want to complain about Europe? You want to complain about Jordan Henderson? This was a lovely moment of him getting his flowers from a club that he's a legend at. Not only from the fans. Mo Salah personally said himself that he wanted this moment to happen for Jordan Henderson because he didn't get the proper send-off from the Liverpool fans at Anfield. Let him have his moment. Yes, it took 60 seconds. Who cares? You want to know what else Brentford didn't do that could have helped their European chances? They could have won more games. Since March, 1 win in all competitions. And that was against this West Ham team that we're talking about how terrible they've been. Okay? So it did not come down to this game.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't come down to these 2 goals. There is a stretch from March until the end of the season.
Tell him, Master.
Where Brentford simply did not play good enough football.
Oh, yeah.
Brentford did not deserve European football, okay? And it's disappointing for me to say because I thought they were good enough to be in Europe. But truth of the matter is, the results speak for themselves. Too many draws, not enough 3 points, not enough victories. I mean, their last 2 wins in the Premier League were Burnley and West Ham. 2 relegated sides. You tell me. Is that a side deserving of European football? I don't think so.
0-0 at home to Fulham. A draw with Everton. A draw with Leeds. A draw with the Wolves side who've been relegated.
Come on!
Like, those are not games that you can draw and then complain about not making Europe because you didn't not make Europe. That's bad English. Jordan Henderson taking a minute to walk off the field when you're a goal down at Anfield on the final day of the season is not the reason that you're not enjoying European football next year. It is not the reason that Sunderland and Brighton and, of course, Bournemouth, as we've talked about, get that chance to go and play on the continent. Jordan Henderson is not to blame here. Stop forcing your eye in his direction and look a little bit inward at your form in the last 3 months.
Crystal Palace last week. This rotated Crystal Palace side has been playing for absolutely nothing. 2-2 draw.
Where's
at
on
home.
the beach? Where's the palm tree?
You guys are on the beach. These shades are coming back out. And you know why? Because Brentford is on the beach. All right? Enjoy the south of England. Enjoy Ibiza. Enjoy whatever beautiful island in Europe that you're going to go on a nice budget airline with. And we'll see you again in August. And you're going to be playing in the Premier League and all the cup competitions. And you'll be sitting at home on your couch, like the rest of us, on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, watching European football. Because you did not deserve to play in Europe next season.
Preach, master. Should we talk about some of the other stuff that's going on around the grounds and the world of football? Some of the stuff we didn't talk about. You mentioned this moment. Let's see the moment where West Ham were relegated. And I don't mean at the London Stadium. I don't mean let's see the moment at Tottenham where it was confirmed. This is the moment from Declan Rice where he was watching and waiting to find out. He knew that he was coming out for a trophy lift. He knew that he was going to be the man to raise that trophy to the sky. And yet look at how much he cared that West Ham were going to be relegated. Admittedly, there is another element to this. It's a double loss for him because also it meant Tottenham stayed in the Premier League and that would have been... Can you imagine the scenes in North London yesterday with Arsenal just lifting the trophy were madness. Can you imagine if it was a double done with Tottenham being relegated as well? Master would have not made the show today.
No, absolutely no way on earth. This medal would not be on my neck right now. It probably would have been detached in some capacity.
I don't want to know.
I probably would be here half shirtless.
Half shirtless?
It's just ripped off from the other half. Somewhere in Finsbury Park.
Who's responsible? I want to know in this imaginary fiction of you turning in with half a shirt and
thankfully we'll never find out.
Mikel Arteta's just ripped off with his teeth.
Sure.
Bring your lunch. Bring your dinner.
We can see we talked about it in the beam of positivity.
I'm furious. Look. It just shows the character that Declan Rice is. As if he wasn't already one of the most likable people on earth. He goes to show you his loyalty knows no bounds. All the time he spent at West Ham, bringing them a European trophy and leaving what he felt was at least on good terms because he left them in a better place than he found them. And that's all you can ask from a player, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what he did. He went to Arsenal. Every single time he goes back, he gets booed. Every single time he touches the ball, he gets booed. And even when he scores, he has every single right to be frustrated and angry, questioning, confused why he's being treated this way from West Ham fans. And even when he scores, muted celebrations. He is calm. He has been so respectful to West Ham. So much so that while he's about to have the best moment of his career,
the pinnacle
of his career.
2 years without a Premier League title for the red half of North London.
And for his own personal sake, being able to live out, I'm sure, what every childhood dream people have growing up all across this beautiful country of lifting that trophy. And Declan Rice is about to do that. But before he does that, he is publicly and visibly frustrated that West Ham couldn't get the job done and stay safe and remain in the Premier League. I assure you, in the midst of all the celebrations that he had, he's probably still thinking about the fact that he will not be able to swing by and play West Ham twice a season.
Swing by! I'm a huge fan of that. Just pop over.
You know what I'm saying? Pop on the tube, go to London Stadium, go play a little 90-minute match, get 3 points,
And don't give away a penalty decision in the final moments.
Maybe he does a couple laps on the track, someone has to use it. Anywho, he's not doing that. And West Ham fans, as sad as you may feel right now, just know Arsenal fans are delighted that you got relegated due to the simple fact of how you treated Declan Rice. You said literally, there was tweets of saying that would be the last European trophy that Declan Rice will ever lift, was that Conference League title as soon as he went to Arsenal. We'll find out Saturday if you guys are right or wrong. Because if he lifts a Premier League title, and also lifts the Champions League title in a week? I hate to say it, but karma's a you-know-what.
Just so you know, that tweet actually came from producer Sam Harris on the other side.
Did it really?
Yeah, he's the guy who tweeted that.
Are you?
The last European trophy
No way.
The one that went viral?
Yes.
Yeah, Sam Harris.
Are you serious? So my anger's at you then. You deserve this. Why have I been defending you this entire time? And I didn't know that tweet was you. You absolutely deserve relegation. I hope Declan Rice lifts that trophy, and if he does, I will bring a replica Champions League trophy here on Monday next week.
I didn't turn your mic on, buddy. We need to hear you.
Yeah, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's so funny.
The enemy was right here.
You referenced it, I was like, that's Sam.
The enemy was right here on the other side of the glass.
As he always is. That's how I treat every show as if he's the enemy. I'm just here to...
This is ridiculous. Oh, my God. I literally did not know.
Do we want to get some of the other visuals from yesterday? Pep Guardiola's Guard of Honor. Do you want to see that? A beautiful moment.
I'm sorry. I'm so perplexed right now. I've seen that.
I need to give you time to process.
I've seen that tweet so many times, and I've been so furious. And I keep thinking about how beautiful it would be when Declan Rice lifts a Champions League trophy, just to prove that idiot that tweeted that thing that said Declan Rice would never lift another European trophy.
Declan Rice is going to lift the Champions League trophy
Saturday. Yeah.
Where's he moving to this offseason? Come on. Yeah, I had to do it.
I know that's not. Let's move on.
We haven't talked about the playoffs. We haven't talked about Bolton absolutely waxing Stockport yesterday in the end. I mean, Stockport played very, very well in the first half, had that goal chalked out for a questionable contact in the back, but they pull it back to 1-1. They take it to half-time. I thought overall Stockport were the better team up until that point. And then Bolton came out in the second half, and it's like they remembered that they were an ascending team, ready for championship football again, ready, as Stu Holden was telling us last week,
the show,
to get back to the promised land of at least the championship and maybe push on beyond it. And you know what? Fair play. Really great performance from them. And now Hull back in the Premier League. I mean,
yes,
with the exact scoreline that Master Damas alongside me predicted, 1-0. I mean, I'm terrified for Hull in the Premier League next season. Just
don't rain on their parade.
This is not the positivity. We have to talk about this. And guess what? The stat nerd's going to come out for a moment.
Oh my God! Stat nerd and negativity.
Time to mention the fact that Hull managed to get to the playoff final and win the playoff final, despite the fact that they had the third lowest XG of the entire championship.
Oh my God! XG, when they didn't concede a single goal in the playoff. Defensively, they masked. There was a huge issue they had of conceding so many goals, and down the stretch, they didn't concede a goal in the entire playoff run they went on.
Watch out against advanced analytics. It's improving the way we play football.
Yeah, but it's a bunch of nerds who were showing decisions that who would have predicted that the last team to get in the playoff would be the one to win the playoff. The team that is being outspent by the Wrexhams and the Burnleys and, not having the glamour and glorious. They're not cheating like the Southamptons. They're going about it in the way that everyone talks about you want to go about football. They're going about it the most professional way. And their fans are absolutely unbelievable. And they showed up and showed out every single home game, supported their team. They came out to Wembley. I saw them afterwards, an hour after the match, and they were beaming. They were delighted. They showed up with some tremendous support, and that is why we watched the game. Yes, you may have been outmatched. Yes, there were more chances that Borough probably should have taken advantage of all throughout that match.
Yeah, I mean, throughout the entire season. Middlesbrough should have been promoted automatically based on their chance creation.
Points. But it doesn't matter because all XG aside, they were able to hold it down, deal with the adversity, and they found that moment of magic from our boy, Ollie McBurney, who was not picked by Scotland as part of the World Cup roster. He's not going to the World Cup, but instead, he's going to the Premier League. And he's wearing one of these because they pulled it off.
Hull are going to win the Premier League.
No, they're not. No, I mean, they wore the medal. They won the Premier League title. I'm not jumping ahead of myself. I'm saying they're wearing a medal. They got to lift the trophy at Wembley. They're going to the Premier League. It's a beautiful story. Congratulations to Hull. Congratulations to Ollie. That whole club deserves it. They earned their way through this. They didn't cheat their way through this. They didn't lose a match to get in this position, and justice was served. The football gods ignored the XG. They ignored all the nonsense. They realized the true story here is a team that battled and willed and deserved this moment, and that is Hull City. So congratulations.
You know who had a terrible XG the season before when they were promoted? Was Burnley. Which of the promoted sides from last season came down? Burnley. My concern is that the Premier League and the gulf between the Premier League and the Championship is only getting wider and wider. We need teams who are going to turn
Sunderland
up, who are
stayed
going
up.
to invest, who are
Leeds
going to buy,
stayed up.
Who are going to, I'm just worried. I'm just concerned that Hull.
They got a whole summer to figure this out. Let them celebrate.
Just to enjoy
Let
earning
them
their £200 million and then come back down again, happy to have had a pay.
Ollie probably hasn't even sobered up yet. He's probably still.
Look how good the Premier League running was. Look how good the West Ham and Tottenham situation was. It gave us more entertainment than the top end of the Premier League in the end. Throughout the running,
let Hull enjoy their moment.
Competitive teams.
The summer transfer window hasn't even opened up yet. Let them enjoy their moment. Let them enjoy their moment. It was a beautiful moment. Shout out to Ollie. Shout out to Hull City. You deserve to be in the Premier League. Don't listen to him. Nerd.
Thank you. And finally, Spain announced their squad for the World Cup early today. And the fact of the matter is, the most key thing of all, there is no Real Madrid players in this team for the first time in Premier League history. Now, De La Fuente...
Premier League history.
In Premier League history, in La Liga history. In 92 years. Yeah, well, that's just because I got, whatever.
English bias.
No Real Madrid players in the Spain squad for the first time in 92 years of competing in major tournaments. You look at that squad, you look at the quality in it, you undoubtedly a squad that could win the World Cup if healthy. De La Fuente concerns me a little bit with how his whole approach to management is very loyal to the guys that got him there, as we see more than anywhere else in the goalkeeping position, where you see, Unai Simon, arguably the weakest of those three goalkeepers domestically this year, will probably start for Spain over David Raya, who has been the best goalkeeper in Europe this year. Even I confess up to that one. I've sat next to an Arsenal fan that I'm constantly trying to undermine. That's my concern for Spain, between that and the health, but Andy Brassel's going to join us up next. We'll break down the squad and we will discuss that decision to not take a single Real Madrid player for the first time in 92 years. That's up next on the S Word.
Bringing all the biggest football debates
stateside.
The S Word
from talkSPORT. S-Word's here. Just 2 hours of full-on football dialogue.
Every day.
talkSPORT presents
The S-Word.
Welcome back to the S-Word from talkSPORT. Will Gavin, Master Tez Fatsian.
It's Memorial Day in America, which we did not even mention.
No, we haven't.
Yeah.
Happy Memorial Day.
Happy Memorial Day.
It's a bank holiday here in the UK. It's Memorial Day over in America. We had a lot of people celebrating, which means I hope they're at home, staying out of the sun, and enjoying the S-Word.
Yes. Shout out to all the veterans in America as well. Honoring you, remembering those who fought for our country, my country. And, yeah.
You say our country, I feel indoctrinated after last year, and everyone fell in love with him, apparently, in America.
We do love you.
Being a nonsense Brit talking about American sports. But there we go. Look, the S-Word, we are here every single day, Monday to Friday, right up until the World Cup. And then during the World Cup, 7 days a week. As around here, we talk about the F-Word, not the S-Word. Football show, not soccer. But we are trying to breach that gap and give the American soccer fans the show that they deserve.
Absolutely. They absolutely deserve this show.
Sometimes when it's as messy as it has been today. But that's fine.
Messy?
The technical issues have tripped us up. The beam of positivity was as wild as anything we've ever done in studio before. It's been fun messy, but messy.
I'm still in a state of tranquility, peace, hopefulness, and maybe our next guest is as well.
We are struggling. We've got Andy Brassel will be joining us in just a moment, struggling a little bit with getting him on, but he will be joining us momentarily. This is after we've got lots to get into from around Europe. He is the host of the excellent, or one of the hosts of the excellent Trans-Euro Express on talkSPORT. If you don't already subscribe to that podcast, do go ahead and do so, because it is sensational. But the squad announced today, the big headline breaking news is that there will not be a single Real Madrid player in this squad for the first time in 92 years of competing in a major competition. There are undoubtedly 2 or 3 there that could have made it in.
Who?
I'm saying could have made it in. I'm not saying should have necessarily made it in, but...
I mean, what, Dean Huysen?
Yeah, Dean Huysen was going to be one of my arguments.
He's been awful. No, he was a promising player, obviously at Bournemouth, but he came into Real Madrid and his confidence has been absolutely shot. So I don't buy the fact that he deserved to be in. Danny Carvajal was someone that maybe could have been,
does he even count as a Real Madrid player at this point?
I mean, yes, a Real Madrid legend, but there was some tension that happened in El Clasico between him and some of the Barcelona players, and whether that spilled over to the Spain national team or not is a very interesting argument to make. Gonzalo Garcia, I think,
my other shout,
probably the most promising player that could have gotten in, and with some of the questions they have at striker in terms of who's going to play there at that position, he would have been a good shout. But all in all, Real Madrid truly didn't deserve to have a player in Spain's national team. They have been very poor this year, and not only have the Spanish players on the team been poor, the other part with Real Madrid too is their recruitment has been very European and Brazilian led. Mm-hmm. They have a ton of French players, a ton of Brazilians, and of course guys like Jude Bellingham and Trent Alexander-Arnold on the team. So it's becoming less and less Spanish, while on the flip side, Barcelona has an infamous wealth of players on the Spanish national team, for better or for worse, because some of them I don't think were deserving of it either, like Gavi.
Well, this is my point was going to be about Luis de la Fuentes, is that I mentioned it with the goalkeepers before the break. He is steadfast in who he sticks with. He has his soldiers. He has his guys. Unai Simon will probably start for Spain at this World Cup, despite the fact that everything indicates that David Raya should probably start. Nico Williams makes the squad, who has been, again, a player who can show flashes, who can be brilliant on his day, but a subpar injury-laden season.
If Nico was healthy, he's starting on the left wing. You put Lamine Yamal on the right side, and you let those two work magic. Nico, I have no problem with. If he is fit, what he does on Spain's national team, it is hard to hold against him with Athletic Club, because he's playing, no disrespect, because of the way they recruit in Basque Country, and they don't have players that they can bring in the transfer window. He's playing with world-class players in Spain. And that's not to say he's not doing Athletic Club, but there is a huge gap. and the amount of attention he'll get an athletic club compared to Spain.
But you have, like you said, Gavi back in the mix. Marino in this squad, despite the lack of football that he's played. Like, he has his guys, and his guys are going to get called
Marino
up.
played 30 minutes, by the way, Sunday at Palace. So
wonderful. I mean, that doesn't mean you should necessarily be in the Spain national squad. And we're talking about a time when last week, I think you and I, amongst the quote-unquote controversies, were praising Thomas Tuchel for making bold decisions, for not taking Cole Palmer, for not taking Phil Foden, because form, because health, because everything else had eluded them this season. I have some concerns for a Spain team that have already lost some key players, that we don't know what the status of Lamine Yamal is. We don't know what the status of Nico Williams truly is. This is a team who, based on the talent they have, are rightly in amongst the favourites, but are coming into this tournament without necessarily the form, without necessarily the health. But this is just our thoughts. Let's bring in our guest, the excellent...
That was your thoughts.
European football... No, I'm bringing you in. These are our collective thoughts. Anything I say is the S-Word's official statement. Let's bring in the brilliant Andy Brissell, European football expert, host of the Trans Euro Express on talkSPORT. Andy, how are you, brother?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for having me, guys.
We appreciate you joining us. Thoughts on this Spain squad? Obviously, the big headline being not a single Real Madrid player picked for the first time in 92 years of going to international tournaments.
Look, I'm not saying there's a backlash against superstar clubs, but I told my 14-year-old that, and he laughed for a full 30 seconds off the back of that. Excellent. But I think your point is absolutely right. I caught a bit of what you were saying before, and look, Dean Huijsen has been surrounded by a mess of a defence. It's impossible for a young player to get on there, and he's paid that price. Of course, he's not the only player who's paid that price. You look at the fact that Robin Lenormand has not had a good last couple of months, and he's been replaced by his teammate at Atletico, Marc Pubi, who's got better versatility as well. I think it's fair to say he can cover the fullback positions and maybe even a bit of defensive midfield. But I guess when you put it into context of La Liga, Barcelona got 8 players in there. And that's without the other ones who were trained at La Masia, like Alex Grimaldo, for example. So I think you're right. It does show a lot of what's going wrong at Real Madrid at the moment. And funnily enough, if there was ever an argument to keep on Alvaro Arbeloa, this would probably be it. Because the one positive thing that he's done at the end of this season that I think will stand them in good stead going into next season and into the future, if Jose Mourinho deigns to play them, of course, is that young players are coming through. Now, we've seen La Fábrica, which is a really great academy in its own right at Real Madrid. But generally, in the past, they've produced players for other teams. So players who've gone on to succeed at other clubs. But now, you've got Gonzalo Garcia, you've got Pitash, other players who are coming through. So this bit at the end of the season that hasn't really worked for them, perhaps we'll look at it in future a little bit like the final half or final third of Klopp's final Liverpool season, where he blooded some of those young players who wouldn't have been ready for Arne Slot had he not been forced to play them.
You talk about one of the guys actually did make the roster, Victor Munoz. Obviously Real Madrid still has 50% of his rights as well for. He was able to make the roster, playing at Osasuna right now, and has done well leaving Real Madrid and getting the opportunities and chances he wouldn't get at the club. But philosophically, Real Madrid has shifted quite a bit in the last couple of years, where we're seeing them scour the earth trying to find some of the best young talent, whether it is in Brazil and France and England as well, and prioritizing them per se more than their own in Spain. And it seems like it's going to be a huge issue in this upcoming election, as Enrique Riquelme is basically saying as one of his pitches that moving forward, this will not be a thing that happens. So how has it gotten to this point where you look at Spain's national team and it is just all Barcelona players up and down this roster?
Well, I think there's an economic imperative to it as well. I think that the fact is Barcelona wouldn't have done it much differently if they weren't forced to by their financial situation. That's the reality. I mean, I think it's a weird thing to think if we go back a couple of years, say if Coutinho had worked out and Griezmann worked out, would Lamine Yamal even be this far along? Would he have got the opportunities? I think you have to ask that question. It's a valid question to ask. So I think with Real Madrid, obviously they were going through a huge period of change in losing very experienced cornerstones over a number of years, starting, of course, with Cristiano Ronaldo. But then the main bit is that they felt they had it covered for when Luka Modric and for when Toni Kroos went. But I think really you only miss people really when they've gone, and you only realise how great they were when they've gone. I think in terms of talent, they've got everything there that they needed. You look at Valverde, you look at Bellingham, you look at Camavinga, who's had a really bad season and, of course, didn't make the France squad. You look at Tchouaméni. And those are guys with the sort of talent you think, OK, they've got that midfield locked down as Europe's best for the next decade. And it just hasn't gelled. And they really have missed those guys. And without having those guys, not even playing all the games, but just to guide them in the background, I think it's been really, really tough for Real Madrid.
Are Spain still rightly one of the favourites for you?
Yeah, well, I think they have to be. And, going back to your discussion about, it's really tough, I think, to find that sort of mid-ground between form and the fact that 90% of international coaches are essentially quite conservative. They want to stick with their guys. And it's like, look, if you had like a bad half season, that's not going to make me drop you, really. And I think Nico Williams is a huge example of that. In fact, I think if you look at the season as a whole, it's not that dissimilar to the season in which he came into Euro 2024 on. Like, okay, he had a better season going into Euro 2024, but he didn't play every game. And I think if you're not playing all the games and you're not playing at high intensity, maybe that's the bit that helps you at the World Cup. I kind of think that about Bukayo Saka for England, really. That like the fact that he's not played, he's started some less than 40 league games over the last 2 seasons. Now, if you compare that to his 2 or 3 seasons before that, where you're thinking this guy needs a break, well, he's been forced to have a break. Maybe that's helped them. I mean, I still think France, as time goes by, are the overwhelming favourites. Like, I didn't really feel that even a month or 2 ago, but now I'm starting to feel that more and more, even though Spain are a definite contender, of course.
The man next to me is banging the table in no small form for Portugal. I know. I couldn't help but notice the jersey behind you on the wall.
I was literally about to mention it, because if we want to just look at Spain's midfield to Portugal's midfield, okay, and I'll list off Spain's players. Pedri, who fitness and form when he's on, he's one of the best midfielders in the world, but we have yet to see him be that guy in form as we're accustomed to seeing. Fabian Ruiz, Zubamendi, Gavi, Rodri, Alex Baena, Mikel Merino. You're talking about a lot of guys who either form and fitness issues or are just coming back from injury. And I'm looking over at Portugal and I'm seeing a stacked midfield that is starting off with Bruno Fernandes, the player of the year in the Premier League. I'm seeing Vitinha, who I believe is the best holding midfielder in the world, and Joao Gomes. And not to mention the depth that they have in some of those positions, like Mateus Fernandes, as we just mentioned right now, who could be he may not even see the field. So I'm giving the edge to Portugal due to the simple fact, but I'd love to get your perspective. Is that midfield for Spain going to be their Achilles heel when you look at the Portugals and other teams in this?
Well, I think they'll be fine. I also think the return of Gavi is huge, because if you look at him, he's so atypical for what we think of a Spanish footballer being. He's an attack dog, really. And he transforms Pedri's game when he's in the midfield next to him, because Pedri can carry on being a prince on the ball and, think about the stars and magic wands and all that sort of stuff, while, Gavi does the ratting and takes the bins out, which I think is a really, really important
When have we seen that Gavi, that same Gavi that we saw 17, 18 years old, as you talked about with La Masia? Some of these players have had to log a lot of minutes early on in their careers and are dealing with some of these injuries due to the result of that. Like, are we going to see that Gavi again this summer?
Look, we don't know the answer to that. And you know what? We don't even know the answer to, are we going to see the real Lamine Yamal when it gets to the World Cup, which is a horrible prospect to consider, but I think it is reality as well, because I was there when he went down with that injury, when he was taking the penalty, scoring the winning goal against Celta Vigo. And it was a weird one, because when he went down, you thought, oh, right, okay, is it part of a celebration? And then quickly, a load of players came around him, a load of Barcelona players came around him, and they're like, yeah, he's in real trouble here. So I think it's such a tough balance, especially in the modern game, when we know that these players are overloaded. Are they going to be lacking rhythm, or are they going to be grateful of a rest and a physical and mental rest, really, from this daily competition? And we can't know. I tend to think Gavi steps up to the plate pretty quickly. And, he gives Spain a little something that they don't have. I'm also a little concerned on the Portugal side about how much football Vitinha's played. And the fact that he did his ankle really badly in a league match against Lyon, and they had him back a week later. You can't tell me he's fully recovered from that. I just don't believe it. Bruno Fernandes just got a lot of minutes on the clock as well. Of course, he's in great form at the moment. Bernardo Silva's Bernardo Silva. You talked about João Neves, who's huge as well. And I think when you look at the depth in that Portugal midfield, you're absolutely right. Because remember, they could leave João Palhinha at home, and he's had a really good second half of the season because Samuel Costa has come through at Mallorca and played so well. So they've got a heck of a lot of options. I still think the Ronaldo question is quite a big one for Portugal. If I felt they were going to use him sparingly, I would feel better about their prospects. But really, I think the way that Roberto Martinez has run things, of course, in terms of what they've done in qualifying, it's like England in recent times. It's, absolutely impeccable. But that doesn't really matter when it gets to the major tournament. And I just think some of that talent is still being held back a little bit.
Yeah. I wanted to switch real quick, talking end of the season recaps all throughout Europe, and Serie A was an incredible finish yesterday. And we're so accustomed to seeing Juventus and, of course, AC Milan, which, what a debacle they had. Those teams qualifying for some of those Champions League spots, competing for Scudetto, and those two teams being jumped by Roma and Como. As great as those two stories are, we can tackle those as well. How great of a story is Roma getting back in Champions League, Como qualifying for Champions League, but also what is going on to Juventus and AC Milan? What a disastrous season.
Yeah, it is on a sporting level. That was their minimum going into this season to make the top four. And I think the race was sort of intensified at the moment, like probably 2 months back, when you realise that there's not going to be a fifth Champions League place. So it is just a battle for the top four, and there is at least one biggie missing out because, of course, it meant a lot to Roma as well. I mean, they've been in financial difficulty for a while now, and part of that has been because of this 8-year absence from the Champions League. Is no small part of that. But look, I think you look at not two huge teams missing out, and in Juventus and Milan, but two huge coaches missing out. The fact is, Juve really hitched their wagon to Luciano Spalletti. They're happy with everything he's done, really, on the whole. So now they're kind of looking around for someone else to sack. Is it going to be Damian Comolli, the general manager? Is it going to be him? There'll obviously have to be some changes because a lot of the forward players that they brought in last year just didn't adapt at all, and they've got a lot of deadwood that they need to clear, but whose market value has dropped a lot, like Lois Openda. And then you've got Max Allegri, whose football or brand of football is only really justifiable in you getting results. Now, if you go back to the fact that they've had no European football this season, so he's been able to coach the hell out of them, so they should be singing from the same hymn sheet. In the first 2/3 of the season, they're impeccable defensively. That up until the international break, they're even an outside shot for the title. And they end up not making the top four. I mean, and not even like close in the end because of, the way they lost to Cagliari yesterday is pretty unforgivable, actually, and really shows that there were problems going back a couple of months that they've just not dealt with. And obviously the fact that Christian Pulisic hasn't scored since December is really one of those problems. But I think you look at the other side of it, of course, Como playing without any pressure, Roma, who did have pressure but really peaked at the right time, and Paulo Dybala coming back and being fit for the last 5-6 weeks of the season really helped as well.
Just on Como, going from Serie B into the Champions League. We've been hearing a lot from Cesc Fabregas, who's been doing the media tours recently and raising his profile. How impressed are you with the job he's done there? Are you surprised he's not being linked with some of those big jobs this summer? And is he that next kind of cab off the big name rank?
Well, obviously, from a normal logical perspective, he should be. But there's a very particular situation between him and Como. Because not only did he get them promoted, not only has he invested a lot emotionally into the club, and they're letting him develop in a way without pressure that he would encounter at bigger clubs. But he's actually financially invested as well. He's a shareholder in the club. So the fact is, this is not some place where he's just, turning up with a day pass. He's got the full 5-year membership with benefits. He feels he has to eat at the bar as well. So I think you look at Fabregas, and I think if you're him, you're thinking, A, I'm in a great situation where I'm working for myself because the club is gaining value and prestige. The club that I part own is owning prestige and value while I'm here. He's getting to work with fantastic young players. He's got better resources financially than, say, Milan do at the moment, which I think is a big deal. Now, he was linked to a load of jobs last summer, and Leipzig were interested, Inter were interested before they got Kivu. Leverkusen thought they had him at one point, and they didn't. And I guess in terms of the speculation not really being there this summer, I think everyone realised it was a bit of an eye-opener for people last summer. They realised how invested he was in the club, how attached he was at the club. It's a bit like your Pochettino at Spurs and then some. The fact that you realise you're never going to have it so good in terms of control anywhere else. Go to another club, and if you have 4 bad months, you're gone. At the moment, he gets to go out and try the Champions League next season, which is a huge bonus that they weren't expecting. Test himself in that, and then he can gradually take this bigger job when he's like 2, 3, 4 years further down the line. And I think that's exactly what he'll do.
Excellent. Look, Andy, excellent as always from you. And if people don't already subscribe to the Trans-Euro Express show, which you are so sensationally fronting at the moment, then they need to get involved because it's brilliant.
Well, thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Andy.
The
Much
great
love.
Andy Russell joining us here on the S Word. Just as I mentioned for Como, I know we've got a break and tell me off.
He will.
It's absolutely worth mentioning the role that Tony Bloom, Brighton and Jamestown Analytics have had in the rise of a bunch of football clubs in recent years, right? Stop. This is a serious point, right? This is genuinely, I want to know what's happening inside that building. I'm desperate to find out what they're doing because not only are Brighton qualifying for European football again, right? Como have gone from Serie B to getting into the Champions League. Hearts utilised their services exclusively in Scotland and came very, very close to getting a first Scottish Premiership title in 42 years, not going to Glasgow. Royal Union Saint-Gilloise used them, and they've gone from a second-tier team into the Champions League. Ipswich used them to get from League One to the Premier League, at which point they weren't allowed to use them anymore because of the links to Brighton. Like, there's something they're doing in that building that is turning smaller, like, up-and-coming football teams into just behemoths that are qualifying for top-tier competitions, and I am desperate. The nerd in me wants to know what on earth Tony Bloom and that company are doing, because Como is just the latest amazing story in their run.
Well, you just glazed them off, so maybe they'll give you a chance to go inside and go see what's going on.
Yes, please. Yeah, we've got to move on. Angelina's joining us in the studio. We'll be talking about the Women's Champions League final, and we might just sneak in a mention for the Premier League Player of the Season, Bruno Fernandes.
The daily deep dive into the world of football.
The S Word
from talkSPORT.
The show for people who love football in North America. And I mean the proper kind, where you only use your feet.
The S Word
from talkSPORT.
Welcome back to the S Word. I totally forgot that we were opening on a shot of me. For those of you watching on YouTube, which you all are, because that's the only place you can get us at the moment, welcome back to the S Word. I'm Will Gavin, and it's all me all the time. There he is. Master Tess Vatsin is also in the studio. You can get in touch with us. I told you, messy show today. Fun show, but chaotic.
Off the rails.
If you look to Master's left, you can see all the wonderful ways in which people can get in touch with us. Master, do your best game show side piece pointing, please, at our Instagram, our X, and our YouTube channels at talkSPORT S Word. I've been struggling to get on YouTube today. There's an issue with the work network, so I haven't been able to see if we've had any live chat comments. So I apologise if we've not replied to any that have been in there, but do keep getting in touch. We will respond to them at a later time, or go check out Instagram. We've had some clips go out from the show today already. Right,
it's hard to watch the phone on your watch the show on your phone and have a shandy at the same time. So it's
no shandy. Maybe a top. Look. Speaking of wonderful achievements from this weekend, I don't know if they're speaking of that, but let's talk about the Women's Champions League. And the brilliant Angelina Kelly joins us in the studio. Oh, yeah, sorry.
He always forgets. He always gets. We're supposed to do this.
It's totally my fault. Totally my fault.
He's the beam of negativity. I'm the beam of positivity.
I'm glad I came in.
That's for me. That's for me.
She could have been anywhere in the world. She's here with us.
Exactly.
We both did our predictions on Master Damas for the Champions League final on Friday.
Yeah.
And we both picked Olympique Lyonnais to take the title finally off the hands of Barcelona. And that is not how it worked out. I think it's fair to say on Saturday.
It was Barcelona 4, Lyon 0. So, yeah, Barcelona, once again, they have secured their 4th Champions League title in 6 seasons. This is also the second time, I believe, in their history that they've done the quadruple. Because you know what? It's Barcelona. They're just going to do a quadruple for fun. But, yeah, goals from Eva Pajor, who, bless her, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. She was nicknamed the Jinx because she has been the runner-up in the Champions League so many times. With Barcelona last season, 5 times with Wolfsburg runner-up. It's pretty bad, isn't it? But she's finally got her award. She scored two goals. Salma Parayuelo as well got a brace. So, yeah, excellent performance. Also, the fact that the Lyon manager was the old Barcelona manager and it was his assistant coach in Barcelona, so he was up against his old assistant, but he came through, the old assistant, and won it for them. So yeah, fantastic for Barcelona. Probably going to be another Barcelona player winning the Ballon d'Or now, so
yeah.
Is the women's Ballon d'Or the same as the men's, where it's now an add-on for winning a competition instead of actually being the best player in the world?
Well, yeah, it's an interesting one because it has just been Aitana Bonmati, Alexia Putellas recently just kind of sharing it between the two of them. I do think that Eva Pajor, this could be her year because she is Polish and the women's Polish team isn't particularly strong. I don't envisage them winning a Euros or a World Cup anytime soon. So I do think it is a little bit harder for her. So the fact that she has scored so many goals, she's won the Golden Boot for the Champions League, 32 goals in all competitions. I think it's hard to argue. Maybe Bunny Shaw, the fact that she's won the WSL with Manchester City, she could also win an FA Cup still. But yeah, I think if there's ever going to be a year where it's not Bonmati or Putellas, Pajor, this could be her year.
That first half, it feels like Lyon's just going to look at the missed opportunities and chances they had.
Yeah.
There was a goal that was called back that they could have been up 1-0 on. And as the game just kept going on, Barcelona hit them on the counter. They were just so forward, and their midfield was just caught slipping in the counter, and they punished them twice for it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's going to be... You're right. You look at that first half, you think that Lyon should be ahead. They're going to be kicking themselves. And I think also the way that Barcelona just completely dominate, like the second that first goal went in, I was like, there is not going to be any coming back from this. And they just went on and on. And I know that there's a lot of conversation about Barcelona and the fact that financially they've been a little bit restricted. Their squad is quite small. I mean, I don't think Aitana Bonmati's earning absolutely zero, put it that way. I think she's well paid, put it that way. But it's going to be interesting what happens because Alexia Putellas, she's out of contract. You've got Mapi Lyon also out of contract. Salma Parayuelo, I was looking up. I think her contract runs out this summer. That could be a player for Arsenal. I think that they'd definitely be looking at her. She's a fantastic player.
Free her. Oh my gosh. She needs to be starting every single match. I'd love.
It's been amazing the amount of movement we've seen in women's football this off-season. season, like as the money is starting to come in. And you mentioned about Barcelona and the financial theory. I mean, we see the numbers of fans that they bring in, and now that the Camp Nou's reopened and fully, like, we expect there will be more money coming into the team because they do attract fans locally. But for it to have been a down year for Barcelona, for it to be a year where they supposedly couldn't invest, where we thought this was the opportunity for the rest of Europe to catch them, for them to do a quad and win a Champions League final 4-0, is this like...
I did not expect this.
No, me neither.
How scary is that for the future of the competition if that's what they're doing on a supposed down year?
It's very scary, and it is all thanks to La Masia. That is the main reason that they have still got this influx of players coming through. I mean, one of their players in midfield was 18 years of age starting a Champions League final, so even if Putellas does go, even if Bonmati goes further down the line, they have still got players coming in, which is important, even if they're not having to spend too much money on them. And I think the fact that they let a couple of players go in the summer for free, like Fridolino Rolfo, for example, they were just like, yep, thanks, you can go, just cancel your contract in a bit. It's actually paid off in a weird way because financially they'll be in a little bit of a better position. Winning the Champions League, that'll be an extra bonus, but I don't know how long you can sustain that. Even though they've done the quadruple, this season they've done good, but you can't continue that forever. There's got to be a change at some point.
Should we shift to Manchester United here? Well, we got a couple more minutes before the show ends.
Yeah.
Bruno Fernandes illegally breaking the all-time assist record.
What's your problem, Bruno Fernandes?
It was an own goal. Came off the bar, came off the goalkeeper's hand. Shouldn't count as it was an own goal, therefore you don't get an assist.
Listen.
20 for the season, level with Henry. Sensational. What a year he's had.
Was Dorgu's shot going in? Was it not? I guess we'll never know. Who cares?
He's been stat chasing this for the last 2 months. Man United has not cared about anything but this.
And rightly so, because we were the first team to secure our position in the league. First team to do, you finish in third, you guys are done, tick that box, move on to help Bruno out. Yeah.
Well, you didn't find it any sort of embarrassing as like all he was doing. There were clear chances he could have shot on goal. And he's not taking these chances.
Well, they still won 3-0 against Brighton. Still got the win. So who cares? You know what? After all that Bruno Fernandes has done for Manchester United, he deserves to get that record. His teammates should be helping him out. And I don't have a problem with it. When you think they were 15th last season, it was dire. They've secured third. They beat Brighton. Bruno's got his record, whether you like it or not, Will.
Well, no,
so
you say that. The dubious goals panel could still overturn that. He could still lose the assist record.
Well, you know what? It'll go again next season, so it'll be fine.
Let's get into that. As much as I'm having a bit of a joke with you about the own goal situation, I don't think they're going to overturn it. The Premier League likes to have records broken. We have to mention the fact that Man United played 3,600 minutes in all competitions last season. Arsenal have played 5,580 minutes, nearly 2,000 minutes more, and still have a Champions League final to play. Man United were firmly 20th in that table. There is a conversation about the fact that you are going to be competing on more fronts. You're in the Champions League. You don't have a lot of squad depth. It's going to take a huge amount of investment this summer if you're going to have any chance of competing across all those fronts.
I mean, I'm not naively sat here like, third this year, going to win the Premier League. Like, we have to.
There's a lot of United fans.
Oh, yeah, there are. There are 100%. But I like to be as level-headed as possible, apart from when it comes to Bruno Fernandes, because he is absolutely amazing. And I just wanted to give you guys one stat that he's created 670 chances since January 2020. 238 more than Kevin De Bruyne, who's next on the list. Just sit with that.
Who also retired. Didn't retire, but left the club 2 years ago.
132 chances this season. You know who's next on the list? Szoboszlai with 58. So I want that to just marinate with you guys. Just take that in.
I'll add another I don't think he had his first assist until the 8th.
Don't matter.
Game week 8. No, I'm saying like.
Yeah. You're being nice here.
I'm being nice.
Okay,
I'm being nice.
He's gone full FPL fan.
I did. That it was an FPL
fan. Where's his nerd?
No, what is his nerd?
Where's his? Thank you.
What's wrong with that? But I did find it embarrassing the way Man United individualized.
Listen, a guard of honour whilst a game's going on is more embarrassing.
How's that embarrassing?
You still got games to play. What are you playing at?
It's more embarrassing than Man United at touting the fact that he won Player of the Year and he's saying this is for you guys. This is not an individual award. Yeah. It's more embarrassing than him stat padding and stat chasing for this assist record, which, by the way, as impressive as you may find it, Thierry Henry did it 2020. Okay? Yeah. So talk to us when you have a player who can score 20 goals and 20 assists in a season.
Bruno Fernandes is also dealing with a terrible Manchester United team, and he is still able to produce big numbers, to produce big moments, to do great things with a terrible team. He's got nobody else helping him out. It is all on his shoulders. So I think that you do have to take that into account. You do have to give him a little bit of grace. I just don't get why everyone hates him.
We're going to keep doing this, by the way. We are going to keep doing this once this is off air. Don't you worry. But we'll be back tomorrow from 8 a.m. Eastern. Loads to get into. Crystal Palace in that European final. We're going to start breaking down some of the off seasons for the teams coming up and keep looking ahead to the World Cup. Thank you for joining the S Word from talkSPORT.
Bring your lunch, bring your dinner.
Around here, we only use the F word.
talkSPORT presents
the S Word.